Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. Season 2 of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow guest,
Mr. Solis. What a pleasure to see you again, Jack, in about 7 days.
I know, I feel like this is the quickest we've seen each other since last year when they did SummerSlam, and then a week later did Payback.
Yeah, that, or maybe it was one of those takeover weekends where we committed to seeing each other the next day to cover really big WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. And so, first off, sir, how are you doing?
Great. Monday of the Thanksgiving Day week off. Done a bunch of cleaning around my apartment so that, I don't know, I might have folks over, and then got some Christmas decorations I'm putting up soon.
Nice.
How about you?
Doing pretty well. As the listeners of the last podcast heard, I successfully was excused from jury duty, mainly due to the fact of my foot. And speaking of my foot, it's been a while since I've given an update because Dom hasn't asked about it, but doing pretty well. Can walk pretty much short distances fine now. It's just the long distances are still a bit of a hassle. And
Here.
yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Got a break from school as well, and much needed break right before finals week begins.
Yeah, the whole staff, all the students, I'm sure it's the case for all sorts of schools across the country that we're all really grateful for this week off, you know?
Yeah.
We're going to finish the semester strong. There's a ton of things that we plan on implementing in the spring. There's a lot we held back on, and a lot that we didn't prioritize in the fall because we're still sort of figuring out how to be safe in each other's company. So you can imagine, Jack, 575 people in a tiny building, But get this, with random weekly testing, we successfully had 3 weeks of 0 positive cases.
That's excellent to hear.
And so with all this sort of proving to be effective and working, we can finally, once and for all, turn our attention to instruction.
Yeah, I can see how difficult it can be to have to plan around all that stuff.
Yeah, so you don't. you just survive. And Jack, I'm about 10 days away from getting out of November without a cataclysmic event. Every month so far has sort of delivered some sort of big change or shift. And I just said at the beginning of November, please, can I make it to December 1st without a thing?
Yeah, and you can thank the WWE for not having any type of cataclysmic shifts either for you.
Hey, and speaking of which, I let you down SummerSlam. I let you down Crown Jewel. I let you down for whatever the WWE did in September. But I, sir, watched with fidelity this event, the event we're here to talk about, and it's pre-show.
It's funny enough, I actually didn't catch the pre-show because the match I heard that happened on it, I thought it was happening on the main card. And when I was watching it, because I was a bit late to it, I was out doing stuff with my mom and dad. But when I got back, I started watching it and I went to rewind. Thankfully, Peacock now has that feature. But I went to rewind and I was watching the first match and I was like, wait, where's the other match? And I kept trying to look and it wasn't until later on, once I finished, I was like, oh, it was on the pre-show.
Well, I'm your man, Jack, for all your insights for what went down in the pre-show. Let me just start by saying that the very casual and familial tone of Booker T, Jerry Lawler, Kayla Braxton, and this guy I didn't recognize. He's got an accent, and that what's his name? The talking head who's been 24/7 champion.
Oh,
it was a delight, Jack. A delight. No one was taking things too seriously. No one was saying something obnoxious like, this is Big E's greatest challenge he's ever faced.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I think it feels like we talk about this a lot, but it feels like there was like for some matches there was again the build up for it, but then there was other matches where it was just like, man, this feels so thrown together last minute.
Jack, the pre-show was doing the building, and there were some things that I swear they said for the first time in the pre-show. Jack, there was a 25-man battle royale. Do you know why there were 25 men in this battle royale?
Isn't it The Rock's 25th anniversary?
They made no mention of that on SmackDown, I don't think. They made no mention of that on Raw. They made no mention of this in the 10 hours of weekly programming that they have. But on the pre-show, they replaced some big tag match with this 25 memorial or more like tribute battle royale. Incredible, Jack. The leaps and hurdles that these guys are jumping to make sense of this card.
Yeah, obviously you can't get rid of Survivor Series because it's such a traditional pay-per-view. It's one of the big four. But, I think what people mainly want to do away with is, the brand supremacy thing. Because,
Please. Yeah, before. So, what kind of a match would we have seen this year instead of Raw versus SmackDown? You would have seen maybe Roman and the Bloodline versus New Day, where they each adopt two other guys, like the New Day and the Viking Raiders versus the Bloodline and the Street Profits. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There have been some mixed matched rando 5-on-5s, but subsets of the 5 would have feuds. There would be multiple feuds going on.
Yeah.
And it always devolved into the baddies and the goodies. Man, that's all good fun. But now, so we're supposed to care about... And it's funny. Nowadays, their shirts, they just don't say Raw and SmackDown. On the back, they say USA and they say Fox.
Yeah. And I don't know. After the way things played out, I want to know how Fox feels about things.
I have a conspiracy theory, Jack. I hate them. I hate them to my core, except I can't help but get creative about the answer to that question, Jack. How do they feel? I want to hit you with my super crazy conspiracy at the end of this.
All right. And before we get into it, as you brought up, and it wasn't... I didn't know about this until you brought it up. To the listeners, when we did Full Gear last week, we forgot a match that I completely forgot about.
Eagle-eared viewers or listeners would have wondered if either of us had seen or had an opinion on the AEW Women's Championship match between Britt Baker, DMD, and Taya Conti.
Yeah, as I explained to Mr. Solis, because I had to connect my laptop to the TV to watch Full Gear, I wasn't able to take notes, and that is how it slipped my mind. And if I'm being honest, I think it also slipped my mind because it was decent, good, but nothing to write home about.
Man, Jack, first you forget the match and then you bury it. Goodness gracious. No, I agree. It wasn't my favorite match of the night. And I don't know who it is to blame, if it's Britt or Conti. But the thing just felt a little slow.
Yeah. It was weird. It was slow, and then when they got to the end, it was like they rushed a million things.
There was something about Taya Conti's reaction to every move she hit. There was just so much time after each move. And I just was like, stop pausing. You haven't paused your every match up until now. Why are you going to start doing it now?
Yeah. It was really confusing, the way they booked a lot of it. Especially, I'm pretty sure Ty hit, almost all the moves in her arsenal. Mm-hmm. And, still couldn't keep Baker down.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Baker did, use a lot of her offense, too. And I'm pretty sure it took, 2 of the stomps, I think is what, if I remember correctly, and that was enough to put Ty down. I think it also ended in a roll up too.
Yeah, it was a little weird. And Britt Baker's also being flanked by 2 women whose names I don't know, and they like didn't play as big a role as I thought maybe they should, given that they're there.
Yeah. Really, really, like the booking of the match is just kind of really weird, and it, like, again, it wasn't a bad match, but like it continues to reinforce like my opinions in that, like, if there's any place that really needs the time, attention, and improvement, it's their women's division still, because they got the names and stuff, they got good enough wrestlers, but like the way they kind of book these things, it's like it's kind of confusing, and like I feel like it's one of the main reasons why, you know, instead of looking towards a lot of the men to sign, they should look towards more women, both that were either recently released by WWE or like people on the independents, you know?
Do you, I hear you. Oh, for sure. Did you hear about the Impact?
Impact. What parts of it?
They've got a Hard to Kill show in January, and they announced 2 matches: Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo for the championship that Mickie just took from Deonna, and I think an X. What do they call it? The X Games match, or
the X? Ultimate X. Ultimate X.
And I think they're gonna have an Ultimate X match, Jack, of women.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And if you want like a picture of what a strong women's division looks like, it's one where you think, yes, we can feasibly hold an Ultimate X match with the participants at our disposal.
Yeah. You know, I think I brought it up before, but you know, it's like when it comes to people, or like, you know, where I believe like the women's revolution in like wrestling truly started, I always give credit to Impact, because like, you know, they were the ones that were giving them that time and effort like in the 2000s, you know, to really build it up, and they're still doing it till now, you know, where like, you know, a lot of people love Impact even nowadays because of, you know, the attention and effort they put into their women's matches and feuds.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, so that was really interesting to see. You know, it kind of does suck that, you know, the partnership between AEW and Impact didn't utilize that more. It really could have helped AEW improve and could have gotten more eyes on a lot of Impact's stars.
You know, something else down the line, because with Ishii showing up at AEW, this seems like maybe a seasonal thing, you know, or doesn't seem like it's one and done.
Yeah. And speaking of...
And just to give us hope that, like, you know, brands might lend people places and we see these dream matches, it was also announced this morning that Eddie Kingston is going to appear in a New Japan Strong event, Insurgents or something in December that I didn't know was happening, but now I know it's happening, and Eddie Kingston's going to be there.
I saw that as well, and man, there was just a ton of wrestling news. Although it's a bit much to get through, you know, it was earlier announced in the year that Wrestle Kingdom would be 3 days, and we found out that the third day is going to actually be, I think they said, a charity event where it will be New Japan versus Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about Noah, but I'm going to learn a lot on January 8th. Let's go.
Yeah. So really interesting to see. And then real quick before we finally get into Survivor Series, because there's just so much to talk about, and of course I have to bring it up, shortly after making his New Japan debut, Bronson Reed also makes his Impact debut.
It's true. He's just busted all the forbidden doors.
Yeah, and let me correct myself. I got to get used to it. Jonah is how he goes by now.
Jonah. He's wearing a shirt, the Top Dog.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that he's playing a heel role, it seems like, both in Japan and now Impact.
We're assuming heel because he took the homegrown hero Josh Alexander and just beat him up, huh?
Yeah, I showed my dad the clip of how, you know, he did like 3 sentons onto the guy, and I think even a 4th one onto his back, and then hit him with 2 of the tsunamis. And when I was showing my dad, when he did the first senton, I'm like, would you take that? And my dad's like, oh, no, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to take that. And I go, okay, then how about what happens after? And he sees him do all the sentons and the tsunamis after. He's like, and we both agreed, man, Josh Alexander probably didn't need to do a lot of selling for that, because it hurt.
Goodness.
But yeah, really excited for that. And finally, Survivor Series this Sunday.
Before we get underway, Jack, let me give you the cliff notes of what you missed on the pre-show, because there are two notable events. Ready? And I'll give them to you out of order. Vince McMahon pulls up in a limo to a crowd of undercard superstars and Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce, and they're all cheering him on. And he comes out to the cheers of everyone, and he tells everyone to wait. He goes back in the car, and he pulls out what can only be described as a golden egg. And literally, Jack, every superstar out there is stunned in silence and unsure what to do next. And Vince McMahon tells them in like a funny old man way, and they all go, oh, yeah, and they're cheering him and his golden egg. And if you weren't baffled and like bombarded with questions, you were now, because what the heck is happening? McMahon is here in person, and he's wielding a golden egg.
Yeah, and I forget what they say, but I'm pretty sure, like, oh, it's worth like $100 million.
That comes during the show for sure. We don't get answers until they run the Survivor Series promo show video, where they're comparing wrestling to the events of The Rock's new movie Red Notice, where apparently the golden egg is a bit of a MacGuffin that The Rock, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot vie for in the events of the movie.
Yeah.
That was the first thing in the pre-show, Jack. The second thing is, you ready for this one? I hope you're sitting down. I am impressed by what they're doing with Damian Priest. Hear me out. I was watching this match, and I was waiting to be annoyed. I was looking to be annoyed because I wanted to share this with you. But it just wasn't going to happen. What was happening, Jack, was a guy was getting kicked around by Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm like, great. He was getting done in by Rick Boogs' guitar, which was plugged into a wireless amp. And then it occurred to me, I went, wait a minute. This ain't the same Damian Priest. And get this, Jack. Whatever they were doing with Keith Lee and whatever they were doing with Karrion Kross, whatever they do with NXT superstars, which is, hey, how can you taking what made this guy special and stripping it away? We didn't realize, Jack, they were doing also to Damian Priest. They took his song away because of the rights issues with CFO $. They took his little like arrow thing away, and they gave him this new I'm upset sometimes thing. And I'm like, they took things away from him, but we don't care because we didn't like it in the first place.
Yeah. I've definitely seen some of the changes they've made, and like I like the way you put it. He's like, he's good sometimes, but he's evil sometimes, you know.
So like, you know, the evil thing, like here, it comes to be because Rick Boogs keeps playing guitar, which like imbues Shinsuke with more energy or power than he had before. So like, I don't know, that there was some reason behind his madness besides just sometimes I remember my name's Damien. I appreciate it. He takes the guitar and just breaks it over his knee. Jack, guitars are heavy and built really strong. And he just took it and broke it over his knee, then pelted Boogs in the face with it. Then Nakamura gets the DQ win. I'm not even mad. You got two of your mid-card champions. You don't want either one to get pinned. This was a good way out. Don't book the match otherwise, but if you did, here we go. This is how we get out of it without anyone looking bad.
Yeah, I saw a bit about it too, and I was like, I guess, you know, interesting way to do it, and, you know, just kind of shows character building for Damian Priest.
The only ghost arrow I saw flung was by Shinsuke himself, just giving the business to old Damian Priest at the beginning of the match.
Oh man, but sounds like a great pre-show nonetheless. Especially like going back and watching that Vince segment. Like so many people just made a lot of jokes and memes about it. So,
which one was your favorite?
I saw people like joking around like that. They were saying that they only started cheering in hopes of keeping their job.
That's a good one. I saw one that said, "We just released 14 superstars so that I can buy this $100 million thing."
Oh man! But so we officially start the show after the pre-show with, I brought up some of these matches had a lack of build. This is one of those matches you can't say that about, as it is Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Again, Battle of the Brands.
Did you hear the rumor, Jack, that this was possibly the main event of the night?
I heard that as well, and, when I heard it, I was like, okay, I guess that could be interesting because of, the build and animosity the match has had behind it. But
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I mean... It just didn't seem like a match that should main event, in my opinion.
It could have. The finish is definitely not a main event finish.
Yeah.
But I also was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that was close. But I was really excited for Big E. You got the big old main event, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Charlotte and Becky, they've been there before. And we've been here before, so I'm glad that they went the way that they did. But yeah, I was real surprised, actually. Like, ooh, interesting. But I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I did too. They definitely played up a lot of the animosity, especially the spot where Becky gets Charlotte into the figure four, and then it goes from just simply having her into that submission to both of them just smacking each other because, they got angry at one another or something. So it's like, they played up the animosity and made you kind of think, are they shooting on each other or not?
And a far cry from August. Remember the rumors that Becky Lynch's match with Bianca Belair only went a couple of seconds because she was rusty and we're unsure about her in-ring abilities after a year away?
Yeah.
Here we are. She's pretty sure of herself now.
Yeah, and, like I said, really good match, for what the two bring to the table, though I'm not the biggest fans of either, they still put on a pretty good match, that I can admit to.
I know you don't like women wrestlers, Jack, based on skipping Britt Baker's match before and what you just said now. But the crowd were on fire. Brooklyn showed up. And I forget whether Becky's supposed to be heel or not, but they were on her side here.
Yeah, unlike a couple matches later on, they were really into this match for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because of, all the rumors that went around and, the whole real life build up to this, about whether, the rumors were true and all that, all because of the title switch segment, single-handedly built a lot of momentum for this match.
Yeah. People like drama.
Yeah, and I want to say the finish makes sense for both of their characters, but at the same time, it was a Becky Lynch classic of getting the roll-up victory.
With the little assist from the ropes that the ref missed. So Charlotte got to do her that face she made to Rhea, that really buried Rhea. That you got me. If this sound had a face, she was making it.
Yeah, and it added to the story of how Charlotte tried to cheat but was caught, and then immediately Becky goes on to do the same thing but isn't caught because of, as they said, the angle of the referee was different.
It added to the story, Jack, that Charlotte refuses to look weak ever. Jeez Louise.
But decent enough match, really hot start to the pay-per-view.
By the way, Jack, with Charlotte sort of being Charlotte here in this moment and in this match, and it being Survivor Series, and AEW being as hot as they are, and you get a sense that this generation constantly wants to reference older generations of wrestling.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, I'm looking for a screw job tonight.
Yeah, I mean, especially because it seems like they always bust it out at Survivor Series, especially anytime they want to bring up, like, the screw job.
Yeah, like, this generation constantly is referencing previous generations in a way that the previous generations themselves didn't do. So, you know, I got my eye on Kevin Owens is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because, you know, the next match is the 5-on-5 men's match, you know, and, you know, Team Raw is Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Austin Theory, and Kevin Owens. 3 of those men who were just on SmackDown like less than a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Versus the SmackDown team of Xavier Woods, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, Drew McIntyre, and... oh man, who was the last member?
Happy Corbin.
That's right, Happy Corbin. And
flanked by Riddick Moss, but with a new name.
Yeah, and you know, you bring up you had an eye on Kevin Owens. The match starts. Kevin Owens says, "I'll be the one to start for Team Raw," and then he immediately walks out and gets counted out.
Oh yeah. I thought he had something up his non-sleeves. But I thought it would happen later in the night. I thought for sure this is his swan song. He's about to draw AEW in the air with his finger. He's about to huck a loogie at Michael Cole. He's going to live his dream and be Bret Hart and leave. But he did a little more amicably of, well, I'm just going to walk out on my team because I'm that kind of guy.
Yeah, he just immediately walks out on them and commenced the match. It was an oddly booked match, I'll say that. It's better than last year's where they just had Team Raw completely decimate Team SmackDown.
No, they had Team Raw just slowly decimate SmackDown. No, they just had Team Raw tease SmackDown before said decimation.
Yeah, like there's the spot where you know, because we didn't see enough of it in the first half of the year. Drew and Bobby start going at it until they're counted out.
Yep. You know, for what it's worth, I thought it was a clever way of getting both men out again without pinning them.
Yeah.
I liked, as Drew was being ushered out, Seth is giving him like that really like obnoxious wave and goodbye, only to get headbutted. I thought that was like, that's great character work, right? Drew just like, no nonsense Drew, just bob. Ugh. So good.
Yeah, and speaking of, you know, the crowd being really into the previous match, the crowd was really into Jeff Hardy for this match.
Yes, they were. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it comes up later, but I'm going to make this joke now. You know how WWE have been accused of piping in sounds, you know, and making the crowd sound louder than they were? Yeah. I know for a fact that they didn't pipe those Let's Go Hardy chants because they don't have a recording of Let's Go Hardy chants. That was honest.
Yeah. Really over, and like, you know, obviously there's other eliminations, you know, like Corbin gets eliminated by Balor, you know. Mm-hmm. I think Balor gets eliminated by Sheamus, and Sheamus is the one that actually takes out Jeff Hardy after getting eliminated. And it was funny.
After working so well together for an extended amount of time, Jeff is not at the corner to get tagged out. He's on the floor, which I wondered, like, is Sheamus thinking he left him, like Kevin Owens, or is he just punishing him for his incompetence? You know what I mean? Like, you weren't there, you had one job. Bam! You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so that was pretty fun, especially because the commentary team was playing it up the entire time. They were like, oh, remember last year they were like in the most heated rivalry, and yet here they are coexisting, and then boom, Sheamus immediately takes them out afterwards.
Yep. Which gives Rollins the opportunity to Well, actually, you know what? They have a pretty good one-on-one affair for a while, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the best parts of the Survivor Series match is, and its match type that you can kind of find yourself in these dream match settings, right? We don't need to build up for Jeff Hardy versus Seth Rollins. It just sort of happened, and there's a lot of combinations that would have fallen flat on its face. Like, imagine if the last two were like Austin Theory and Baron Corbin, right?
Yeah.
So this was like one of like the best ways this could have ended. This dream match we didn't even know we wanted, and everybody and their mothers were behind Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, and you know, I like the different storytelling bits. Like, I know, like with Austin Theory's like work throughout the match, it was like whether he would be experienced enough in it, and like I think that's what ends up leading to his elimination. Is I think Hardy's the one that gets the best one. But is it just me, or have they given Tyler Breeze's old gimmick to Austin Theory?
I 100% evoked Tyler Breeze as I watched this show last night and watched Austin Theory take selfies with his teammates.
Yeah, like I was seeing like all the like I've been seeing it, you know, like he's been taking selfies with either the people he beats, you know, or like taking, like, you know, when he replaced Rey Mysterio, he took a picture of Rey Mysterio getting attended to by the medics. And
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I'm just like, did they give this man Tyler Breeze's old gimmick of, you know, coming to the ring with the selfie stick and all that and taking selfies with people?
Goodness gracious.
But Raw wins again. This time, slow, as you mentioned, a slower decimation than last year.
You know, at least, I mean, Jack, SmackDown couldn't win a 4-on-5 handicap match. And one of those four is Austin Theory. And they had Riddick Moss outside and he did nothing.
Yeah, SmackDown definitely did not deserve to win this match.
But I have my conspiracy theory, Jack. I have my conspiracy theory about why they let that happen. Why Fox was okay for this to transpire.
All right, well, let me check that. Okay, yeah, we're good on time. Next match, the Battle Royale. Correct?
I believe so. 25 men to commemorate the 25 years that have passed since The Rock's debut in the company, which is a weird anniversary to celebrate because he's not there anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
in 25 years, but it's also been 20 since he left.
Yeah, and again, going back to, you know, like how I brought up the question about Austin Theory's gimmick, was this Battle Royale fought over pizza?
I believe so. Because it was sponsored by Pizza Hut and their new holiday box or something or other.
Yeah, and like, you know, I don't want to give spoilers. Obviously, there's much to talk about from the Battle Royale, but like at the end, you know, spoiler, you know, Omos wins and AJ goes over to like get him some pizza, and that's when the Street Profits come back and take it from him and just start giving away the pizza to like the people in the crowd.
And he gets some distance on those slices. He throws those into the crowd, and I wonder, Jack, is it a good thing that they got so much air, those pizza slices? Or is it a condemnation on Pizza Hut that those things got so much air?
Yeah, I just couldn't like stop laughing as I was watching it, because I was just like, man, like, especially like you know, though the commentary team isn't the greatest, I just find it funny that Byron Saxton was like, I'm right in front of you and I can't get a slice, but someone in like row 15 can get a slice.
Yeah, they did the thing where the Street Profits are like handing out the pizza, and they give Byron Saxton the cold shoulder and give it to Michael Cole and whomever was sitting on his right. Was it Pat?
I don't think it was Pat, because I don't remember hearing Pat's voice during this.
And I think they were switching out the commentators all night.
Yeah.
Like a real carousel of them. Which was weird.
It's funny you bring that up, because I'm pretty sure there was a moment caught on commentary that wasn't supposed to be caught. And I think it was during this match. I forget which match it was, but after they finished, you could hear Byron Saxton saying, "Oh yeah, it's a good thing we're going to break. I need to take a pee break." Really? Yeah, I heard him say that. I was like, and like you heard it like go really low, and so I was like, I don't think that was meant to be caught on the feed.
I think something like that happened on the pre-show where Kayla Braxton's. I heard her voice say something that didn't go with the visual, but I was like, no, I have no sound. You know what I mean? And I go, oh yeah, that was definitely not supposed to be.
Yeah, and so the Battle Royale, 25-man Battle Royale, 25 years of The Rock, I don't think we even got an even distribution, because obviously, you can't get even distribution out of 25, but even with the 25, I don't think we got an even amount of SmackDown guys compared to Raw, again, like, based off, visuals.
Yeah, after a couple of eliminations, just a couple, it's apparent the ring is mostly Raw.
Yeah, and, despite it being about brand supremacy, you had guys from the same brands eliminating each other.
That one was weird. Yep, that was a little weird to catch.
Yeah, and I mean, props to Sami Zayn for trying to play it up when him, Ricochet, and Cesaro are the only guys left from SmackDown, and he's like,
was
hey.
he? Or was that just Sami Zayn being Sami Zayn and looking out for Sami Zayn?
That too. But I like how he's just like, hey, look, we're all SmackDown. Come on, we need to work together. And they just, ignore him and try and throw him out.
There is a bit at the end. The final five are Cesaro, Ricochet, Street Profits, and Omos. And it looks like the four non-Omos men see it as a mission to band together to eliminate the guy who, up till now, I think eliminated 10 people.
Yeah. They really let him get, a ton of elimination.
And I'll tell you what, I was kind of surprised to see him eliminate Commander Aziz. Because, he's another big guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if this company likes big guys, why not make them all look strong? But no, Commander Aziz was fed to the Wolves, and the Wolves are named Almost. And then the other guy.
Shanky?
Shanky. Shanky's another guy that, you think would get the Almost treatment, but nope. They said, we got one guy we're going to make look real strong.
Yeah, I mean, they even let him eliminate Otis on his own.
Mm-hmm. He eliminated, what's his name, too? He eliminated the entire Alpha Academy.
Yeah. So, they really gave him the shine. As I mentioned earlier, he wins the match.
Yeah,
and
he eliminated Jack. So, if, Almost is Almost, right? There are 24 other men in that match besides Omos. And he eliminated 12 of them.
Yeah. And my only question is, at the beginning I asked, are they fighting over pizza for, this Battle Royale? Is a feud about to begin over pizza? Because it seems like the Street Profits and Omos and AJ are going to feud over the fact that they didn't let Omos get pizza.
That's very funny. Jack, this match is the one of the entire night that I wish they would have changed the ending for. Every other match's ending made sense, or at least seemed like it was building towards a better tomorrow. But this one, Jack, I would have had someone else win this Battle Royale. Who would you have had won, if not Omos?
I need to look at who were the participants, because I actually forgot who was in this match.
Well, put anybody you want in there. Even if they weren't in there, who's Jack the Booker going to put in that and let Omos put over a dozen people, but this person ultimately gets the best one, gets the one over Omos? I got mine.
I guess maybe Cesaro, maybe, or one of the Street Profits.
Okay. For me, it was a Ricochet. He got to the end, and I was surprised he got to the end. And I was surprised the reaction he got in the end. But I thought, no, but this is okay. This could be a nice thing. Ricochet, a person who wins things, that'd be a nice character. But nope, he's the last one out.
Yeah. Really confusing, but again, it was also probably just a filler match. Maybe get the crowd complacent before the future matches. Don't want them getting worn out too soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy hitter matches this particular card.
And the next match is a match where my opinion just my prediction continues to age like milk.
You must be talking about Randy Orton and Riddle, RK Bro, and Raw Tag Team Champions versus the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Yeah. And I say my prediction is aging like milk because I'm watching this, and out of nowhere I hear Orton's music hit, and then I also hear Riddle's, and then I start listening and I realize not only are they coming out as a team, they have their own team entrance and like music together now. It's a mix of their solo ones, but
it's a blend of voices and whatever Riddle's songs called, and it's blended pretty well.
Yeah, and then I realized, man, my prediction is not gonna age well about them splitting before 2021. And
something that I didn't bring up in our AEW review, Jack, I forgot to mention how excited I was that Andrade and Malachi Black came out to their own songs and not one another's song or a blend of both their songs.
Yeah.
This brought me great joy because I actually am not a big fan at all of blended songs.
Yeah, and I just couldn't believe how terribly my opinion is just aging.
For those who missed the last WWE review episode, Jack predicted that Randy Orton and Riddle would be broken up as a tag team by now, I think. And then I said, oh no, Jack, I think they're going to enter 2022 as a formidable tag team that is only stronger in their bond than ever. And here we are, Jack, November 21st, and they're stronger than ever.
Yeah, and the big thing is, there's no pay-per-view this month because they're going to have the January 1st pay-per-view instead, so there isn't any big-time event that they could really have them like break up unless it's going to be on a random episode. So at this point, we can just almost but confirm that my prediction was terribly wrong.
Well, I look more and more forward to our day one review. What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was a good tag match for, what it was, and, it was definitely an interesting matchup to say the least. If you had told people a year ago that the tag match for Survivor Series was Riddle and Orton versus the Usos, they probably would have been really confused.
Right, yeah, no, for sure. And the Usos came out to a monster reaction from the Brooklyn crowd.
Yeah, and honestly, the reactions they and Roman are getting, it's just making me wonder if they are ever planning to turn them face again. Because there was apparently rumors that, they want to make Roman into a big face because they want him to truly be the face of the company. And it's like, I wonder when that comes, especially when the fact is they're not getting booed.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, no, there were definitely let's go Roman chants later on. But can the Usos make the head of the table proud with a victory here?
Well, just like last Survivor Series, they cannot.
Dang.
And just when you think Randy Orton can't hit another RKO out of nowhere, he still finds a way to surprise people.
Was it Jimmy or Jay?
I'll be honest, I can never tell the difference unless commentary tells me otherwise.
Jimmy. Jimmy's the one with red in his hair. I'm reading from CBSSports.com. When Jimmy doesn't realize Orton was a legal man, he went up top for a splash on Orton, but Orton slid back in the ring and turned the splash into an RKO to score the win.
Mm-hmm. Good tag match. I just realized have about 30 seconds left, so we'll close out here.
Gracious.
Yeah, close out here. Cutting it close, but we'll close out here. Tune into the next episode to discuss the final two matches and any final opinions, and of course, Mr. Solis's conspiracy theory on the whole Survivor Series.
Yeah. See you there.